Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Good evening. And Katie's Clinic. Good evening, Jules. You're spot on. I'm bang on time. Have you noticed? How cool is that? Katie's Clinic is now open. It's open for the autumn season. I've just put a post up actually. And I have some new and exciting teaching aids to talk to you about. Right, I've just got to keep my eye on this because obviously I'm waiting for Alexandria to come in and join us. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. I was just about to start doing Qigong. I was literally about to start leaping into life. But basically, this is not Qigong. Doesn't feel like 5 minutes since the last one. I know. And here we are. Right, there we go, Alexandria. You are there. Let's just get you in. Is that going to work? Is this going to work? There's always a slight anticipation for me whenever I'm doing these things because, Alexandria, hello.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. I'm always slightly nervous before I start these feeds because, like, whilst I know what I'm doing, I always think technology is going to completely mess up, and it normally does.
It's so
Anyway,
nice to meet you, like properly after so many months. It feels really surreal.
oh no, you're welcome. And I've got a new teaching aid here today. Look, we've got, along with SPF, we've got my giant-sized acupuncture man.
Oh wow.
But we've now got into live split live, so of course we've slightly decapitated him. And SPF is here. Anyway, lovely to meet you, and you are definitely a big member of the Chi Gang. And I've just been talking to Jules before. Now, the trick to this is I'm not allowed to know anything
Right.
before we start. Okay, so this is not me buffering up because, in all honesty, when I go into my actual clinic, I basically just look at the chart before we start, and then we start from scratch, and that's what we do. And really, the idea of this is to pick out people who've got, health conditions, issues, things that have happened to them, that all the normal things that they've tried just simply can't get to the bottom of. And it's really just to give you the opportunity to take the kind of advice that I give you, like all the way through to the nth degree. You come to the Qigong, you understand the tools, you've listened to the advice, but now the idea of this kind of thing is that we can really tailor it. And hopefully what I find in clinic is that despite everyone's unique and individual, we've all gone through our own pain, and I totally understand that, me too, that there are universal truths that underpin all of us. So your health conditions and things that have happened to you that are manifesting in problems will resonate with other people as well. So the idea of this is to help you, but also to broaden it out to help others as well, so that they can go, oh my God, I've had whatever it is, psoriasis, eczema, hair loss, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to help you, and hopefully you'll help me help others. So between us, we're going to do some stuff. So without further ado, obviously this is a live feed, so I'm sensitive to the fact that you don't necessarily want to bear all to all and sundry. I recognise that, but in the interest of your privacy and giving me enough information that I can help you with, do you want to just give me a bit of background of what the problem is and how I can help?
Yeah, totally. And actually, it was interesting. I spoke to Jules earlier, and I was kind of saying, I know one of the big issues where it's all come from, but I'm a bit nervous. I don't want to talk about it. But I actually kind of meditated on it, and I felt like what you were just saying, it's really actually important for me to talk about it and be honest, because I think a lot of women have experienced that. I think you know what I'm saying. So is it okay if I share about
you just share?
Yeah.
I mean, the more you can give me, the more I can help you.
Yeah.
That said, we are on Instagram, and this goes up on a story, and you have privacy. And if there's things, if I will be reading you anyway, that's my job. Chinese doctors are experts in expressions, facial analysis, watching your every move. There's no escape. Honestly, I'm the most boring person to have dinner with, because I sit there gazing at you, and then I go into something and, oh my God, she's psychic. I'm not psychic. Well, might be a bit, but anyway, the point is that I will intuit my way through it, but I will work with whatever you want to give me, whatever you feel comfortable with. There's no pressure. Okay. So why don't you start with what the problem is?
Okay, I've written a list because
crack on.
There's
we've got an hour. After that, we get cut off.
Okay, there's multiple problems, right?
Okay, it's all right.
This is the thing. So I think most of my issues started when I had sexual trauma between the ages of 15 and 18. And when that happened, my back started really hurting. I started getting really severe back pain, and I went to osteopaths and they couldn't find what was the problem. And around that same time in my life, I started using drink and drugs quite heavily from the age of 13 to 18. And I was, partying, not sleeping, really eating crap food. Around the same time I experienced a sexual trauma, I started getting really bad, like cystic acne, very, very severe. And I put on a lot of weight very quickly. My periods started late and were quite heavy as well. And then I started getting quite bad depression, anxiety, mental health issues, this kind of thing. So then I stopped the drugs and the drink age 18, and then a chronic fatigue kind of thing started to kick in. And that's been constant. I'm almost 28 now, so that's been on and off for about 10 years. I've had quite severe episodes of chronic fatigue. I've had insomnia since I was a really young, 5 or 6 years old, struggling to get to sleep. And then now it's more, I wake up, and once I'm awake, I get into a bit of anxiety and my heart's fast and I can't get back to sleep after that. I've been diagnosed with fibromyalgia a couple of years ago, or a year ago, and hypermobility. So I experience quite a lot of pain in my body a lot of the time. You know, my joints are quite cracking and stuff like that. I feel cold a lot of the time. I scar and bruise really easily. Let's see. I still get quite bad energy crashes, especially in the afternoon. So I don't know if that's the fatigue stuff or if that's something else. And I also have digestive problems. So I've had IBS, and I've had parasites and stuff like that since I was about 20. So there's always been some kind of thing. I've got a lot of allergies as well. So I'm gluten intolerant, dairy intolerant. I'm very clean in my diet now. I don't eat sugar. I eat mainly Ayurvedic and stuff like that. But, you know, it's hard not to feel disheartened, because I feel like I'm doing all the right stuff. And everything I've tried just does not seem to be working. And it's hard not to just think why, you know. And I love helping people, and I'm really grateful for these things, because I've been so sick on and off throughout my life. It's given me the motivation to study nutrition. I've become a naturopath recently, and it's kind of given me that force, but it also feels like, who am I to be telling anyone what to do when I'm still so sick as well myself, right? So yeah, and I do think the hormones are a big thing to do with it, because I haven't had a period for 2 years as well. And I just feel like my body is in a kind of constant fight or flight mode of stress, and it gets better if I spend a lot of time in nature and stuff like that. But I've had a lot of therapy because of the sexual trauma and stuff. And I do feel like I've kind of come to the other side, but I feel like the body is still trying to shake that trauma that's happened. I feel like the body's still trying to shift that off. So I've definitely noticed improvement from when I started your Qigong. I think I started in April or something. I definitely doing that in the morning. That definitely gets me out of the kind of depression stuff, and also the kind of stiffness in my body. It starts loosening things up. And the 12 rivers as well, I did that a couple of months ago, and at first I had a huge healing crisis, major, and then again a couple of weeks later, major healing crisis, fatigue. I could not get out of bed. So I know it's working, and I'm motivated to keep doing it, and that's why it's so I'm so grateful for your classes. You're a very motivating person, and all the group and stuff like that. But yeah, it does feel a little bit oh man, I'm doing the best I can, and I'm still feeling all these pains in my body. What can I do? What can I do to go to the next step? You know?
Okay. Right.
Sorry.
Can I just say, no, we've got it. Your life in 7 minutes flat, broadcast on Instagram, the wonders of Instagram. Right. This is a brilliant case study. So Jules, thank you for bringing this to everyone's attention, because we can just basically deal with a million things at once, which is the absolute point of this, that we can help you and help others. Okay. And the key thing to say to you here is that this is an absolute example of how we can build on in the morning class, and I kind of purge and nourish and moving the circulation and getting rid of everything, and I do that, and that's the kind of the introduction level. But Then when I go into the healing sounds and going round the organs, okay, you are an absolute classic example of you've got shit going on in every single organ, okay, right. And then I go into talking about the spirit, and then I talk about pain, and I go, okay, this is so unfair. From a human point of view, I'd be looking at this going, my God, this is awful. This is outrageous. This poor girl, you're so lovely and beautiful and kind and sweet, and you've suffered this awful trauma inflicted on you by some arsehole, basically. And this is outrageous, okay? That's where we're going to stop. Except you are an absolute classic example of a personification of a true journey into what it is that I'm talking about. So let's first of all start with the when we do charts, we've got to look at a chart like this. And the first question we've got to answer is why? This is so awful. Why on earth did the universe put someone like you through something like this, right? That's the first question before we go anywhere else. Why? That's so horrible. And the answer is you're a healer. Let's just go to that first. So we've got to start with the wound that started at 15, which was just imposed upon you in a horrible experience. But the outcome of all of this is you are a healer. And I know all about healers because I'm one myself, and we're a decimated bunch in modern society. There's not much emphasis given to us. Healers were women on the whole. Healers were basically killed off. And now the revolution that's going on at the moment is that there's a whole army of us coming back out again going, actually, sorry, we're not Western doctors. No, we're not. Sorry, we're not stunningly gorgeous. No, we're not actress/models. We're healers, okay? And the thing about being a healer is it's the most amazing thing in the world, but you have to go through the ringer in order to become one, right? It's called a rite of passage. Now, the interesting thing about you is that when we look at your chart is that when we look at a chart, the first thing we look for is a day master. Now, let me just grab my thing here. When I'm looking at your chart, this is what I'm looking at. It's the 5-element chart. This is not unfamiliar to people. I know it's the wrong way around probably, but basically what this chart does is this is basically the organs, those 5 organs that I talk about when we're in the clinic in the class each morning. Basically those organs, as I say to you each day, they are responsible for every single aspect of your health, everything. Nothing goes into the body without those organs being involved. And when we're looking at a chart and answering the question why, we start with the day master, because the day master is a bit like saying you're a Libra or a Virgo. It's got a genetic sense or generic sense of characteristics which basically become the person that you are. Now then we layer on a million other things as well. So it's not just because you're a day master, whatever, doesn't mean you're the same as everyone else. But when we start with you, you're yin earth. So am I. Okay, what does that mean? Yin earths are nurturers, carers. They're the earth energy. They go round in circles. They're very nurturing and giving, and they like caring for other people. They find rationale for themselves in looking after others, and they find looking after others actually makes them feel good about themselves. That's why I get up every day and do what I do, because I absolutely love it. And if I don't do it, I'm miserable. So you're one of us, okay? You're a yin earth. And the thing about the earth element, when I talk about this when we're doing the healing sounds, is that the virtue of yin earth is the path of righteousness. And the path of righteousness is not the easy path. This is the spiritual aspect of the earth element, okay? And the right path is never the easy path, okay? That's the first thing to say. So you have walked the walk. And what's going on in your life at this moment for you to have ended up on this feed with us looking after you in turn, going, hang on, she's one of us, guys. She's one of us. Bring her in, bring her in, bring her in. Incoming. Let's sort her out, okay? And in comes Jules, and in come I, and in come all the lovely Chigang people going, no, bring this one through. Because you're here to serve. Because that's what earth people do. So in so healing you will go and play it forward and you will heal others. And the path of righteousness is not the easy path, but it's the right path, okay? And many people, because we've lost our spirituality in modern living, it's not a criticism, it just is. We've forgotten this stuff. We've been indoctrinated by modern culture to make ourselves think that it's not fair, that this is unfair, that I deserve the easy life, I want the stuff, I want the kind of the bum tuck and the lips and the looks and the car and the holidays. And it's not true. It's all a load of bollocks. The strength comes from the soul, and the suffering develops the soul. And I'm not here to wang on about the spirituality, because you could have thrown anything at me. Okay, these are my notes. But what's coming through this is there is a spiritual journey that is taking place, and you're already on that journey, but we need to articulate it more. So the what's going on is you're starting with this day master, which is here to serve and here to care. But you can't serve people unless you've suffered. You can't, because you haven't developed compassion unless you understand how it feels to be in that place. And I understand that. And you know I understand that, because the vibration, you can feel the vibration, because I'm sitting here with my suffer level, go, oh, I know how that feels, I've suffered that. I haven't suffered exactly that, but I've had my version of that, and it was just as bad in a different way. And my health was just as bad in a different way. And by the way, so's loads of other people that were ending up on these feeds, okay? So you're not the only one. And what I can say to you is that the suffering, whilst I'm terribly sorry and I'm sad for you that you've had to experience such awful, awful things, and it's so undeserved from a human perspective, from a spiritual perspective, it's going to give you your USP, and it's going to enable you to be a really great person. And if we were talking to your soul, and I was in soul with you going, are you okay to go through this? It's going to be really horrendous, but it's going to teach you the most incredible stuff, and you're going to be able to heal thousands and thousands of people. Your soul would go, yeah, I'm up for that. It would, in hindsight. At the time, no, it wouldn't. At the time, you're like, what the hell is this going on? From the human perspective, this is awful. From a spiritual perspective, this was the path of righteousness, which is going to get you where you're going to be. But we've got to heal it, because it's a wound. And the reason why your health has suffered to such an extent is, A, to understand all the different symptoms, because you've gone, literally, I've got notes all around the elements on you. Everything's got involved. You know physical pain, you know spiritual pain, you know emotional pain. So your pyramid of health, hang on, let me just get I'm in a new clinic now, I've just set it up, but I've stupidly pinned everything to the wall. So your pyramid of health, what I also talk about each morning, you've got everything going on here. I've run out of hands because I'm holding my notes. Hang on. Got your notes on the back of a box of Lego. Right, physical pain, we've got that. Emotional pain, we've got that. Spiritual pain, it's all going on. You've got the full Monty. Why? Because you need to know what it feels like. Otherwise, you're not going to. You're no good to anyone. Okay. So what's going on? So basically, from the spiritual perspective, we've got a purpose. We've got a sense of why this happened. We can ask the why, because you're going to put it to good use. Now, it needs healing. Because if we go back into human level, it's like, right, but it was still horrendous. And look at what we've got going on. We've got pain in the joints, we've got pain in the limbs, we've got pain in the muscles, we've got acne, we've got periods, we've got depression, we've got anxiety, we've got sleeplessness, we've got fight or flight, we've got allergies, we've got IBS, we've got parasites, we've got chronic fatigue, we're knackered in the afternoon, bloody hell. We have got the walking wounded going on here, but it's all fixable. Because what we've got going on is that what happened when you experience sexual trauma when it's at a young age, when it's at an age which is not acceptable by modern culture, and also when it's not been asked for in the first place, when it's an invasion, especially as a female, that is going to create a major trauma in the body, because the body, like the day before this all kicked off, was just doing its thing, like la 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 la. You didn't really mention anything before this moment. This all started when you were 15, okay? And your periods were late. You had late onset of periods, so you weren't ready. The body wasn't ready. Now, from a Chinese perspective, if intimacy happens too soon, that is traumatic to the body. Of course it is. I mean, that's common sense, okay? And what that's done is it triggered a fight or flight response in the body that was so profound that it's not stopped doing it. So what happens is it's the sexual functions of the body sits within the terrain of the kidneys. The kidneys have a massive responsibility to the stress response, fight or flight, the adrenaline, that's kidneys. So already, and fertility, kidneys, right? So suddenly the kidneys go like that, right? And that made the heart go, oh! And the heart is also responsible for something called the triple burner. And the triple burner is basically the conversation that goes on inside your body all day long. It's the I told you so voice. It's the voice that regulates everything and goes, what's going on down here? Oh, no, we're all okay. Because it's balancing everything. And if all of a sudden this thing happened, the triple burner will feel really reprimanded, because it will go, oh my God, there's been a shock to oh my God, war. Okay, it's gone into fight or flight, like major defense mode. And it will feel like it's let you down. So it will then go into overdrive, like Heathrow after a terrorist alert, and it will be constantly going because it once upon a time it wasn't there to protect you. Not that this was your fault on any level, but the body has got its internal communication, and in came the assault, and the body went oh like that, and that was like the initial kind of wound that's basically taken place. And as a result, the reason why you've got all these things kind of you've got all these pains and you can't get rid of them. You've done it with diet, you're doing naturopathy. I'm like, yeah, but we're not doing it with authentic and comprehensive Chinese medicine. So welcome to the celebration of natural medicine, because this is it. Like, this is like a star, okay? Because the point is that your poor body went under assault and it hasn't got over it. So it's in a constant state of fight or flight. It's constantly like that, okay? And the result of that is that there's going to become a chronic stress, and chronic stress creates chronic heat, chronic excess hormones. And what that means is that your microorganism, like your body, if you imagined yourself like a ecosystem in a glass, okay, has been polluted, okay? And therefore and that circulates around your body every second of every day, and those stress hormones are there, and that anxiety is there because the body went into that state and we've never quite healed the wound. It's a seeping wound that's orbiting at circulatory level, and what's happening is the body hasn't got enough resource because it was so overwhelmed at the time with everything, because you're in puberty, you're young, you're a female, you're vulnerable, you know, all these awful things that happened all at once. It didn't purge it out violently at the time. It would have done a violent purge, but it wasn't enough. And that's showing itself because when you're going deeper into you do Qigong with me, healing reaction. You do 12 rivers run, healing reaction. You do the heaven earth, healing reaction. Like, am I ever going to get rid of these healing reactions? The answer is yes, you are. But what's happening is it's like a dripping tap. So you do this new stuff with us and it creates a healing response, but there's still the dripping tap going on behind the scenes. So it's a bit of a leaky bucket. Okay, so, and that's why these symptoms aren't completely going away, because we've got to go right into the healing journey to get in there, because you're going to be a healer. You already are one. You've already studied it. You've already made a virtue out of this, but we've got to go more. The universe wants more. You have more to give. Okay, and the deeper the pain, the more from the yin yang balance, the worst out of the darkness comes the light. The worse the pain, the greater the opportunity of healing to yourself and to other people. And what's happening is that this high stress trauma is just orbiting round and round and round the blood. So what's going on? Everything's getting involved. The kidneys are involved because they went like that, right? So they're not functioning. They froze in fear. And they're not functioning properly as a result. So what happens is they get tired. So the body will draw the energy. I don't think I can quite move him. We won't do him today. The body will draw the energy out of the limbs into the organs to preserve your life, okay? And therefore the lower back, the kidneys responsible for it. The body's pulled it into the kidneys. The kidneys are frozen. They're not functioning. They're not doing this. They're like this. So the backache comes in because the energy is not flowing smoothly around the body. The fatigue in the afternoon, classic kidney. The kidneys are just walloped and tired. The chronic fatigue, classic kidney, it's basically the body going, I can't cope. I'm so busy dealing with the trauma that I went through that I simply can't deal with life as well. I haven't got it in me. I haven't got it in me. And if you make me do it, I'm going to die. So I'm not going to let you. So I'm just going to make you go to bed instead, because bodies are designed to survive. And as the Dalai Lama said, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And this is a case of that. I'm not saying for a minute that this was right or fair. It wasn't. It was absolutely abominable and awful, and it's outrageous. But from a spiritual and a physical point of view, and in terms of your journey, this is going to make you strong, okay? And that's what's going on with the kidneys. So that's what all of that's going on. Then the liver's got involved, okay? Because the kidney, which is here, nurtures the liver, okay? The liver's here. The liver's the wood element, right? Hypermobility, that's the liver. Turning to drink and drugs, that's because the liver has something more to, because if you obliterate yourself with alcohol and drugs, what happens is, because the liver is an organ responsible for detoxifying the body, and it's also an organ for injustice, resentment, protection, anger, frustration, like, you know, and all of this you're naturally going to feel because of what happened to you. And so therefore what happens to the liver is, when you basically overwhelm it with alcohol and drugs, it's got something else to think about. For a brief moment, you can relax, you can escape from the inner dialogue of torment and blame and guilt and anger and all the mixed emotions that go with the assault, okay? And so what happens is you can escape just for a little bit, but the problem is it's not a true escape, because actually it ultimately makes things worse, not better. And you brave that out because you actually managed to step away from it and give it up and go into the truth, which is the pain. And you've done that, and yet you didn't even get the full story. So that's incredibly brave. That shows a very strong wood element in your body, which will serve you well. Because basically what you've done is, when I talk about compassion and forgiveness and a plan, we might not necessarily be ready to forgive quite yet, although that would be, from a spiritual point of view, a very useful thing to do, but we may not be good to do that. But definitely a plan of the way out, because what's happening is the liver has also suffered. When you've got heavy periods, that's the energy of the liver not flowing smoothly, and that anger and frustration comes out in clots and heavy bleeding. So you're the person that continued to suffer as a result of the anger and the frustration. It was a natural response to what happened. But you see, when you're dealing with spiritual practice, it's easy for me to sit here telling you what the code of the game is, but doing it is another matter. Doing it is really difficult. That's why it's called spiritual practice, because when it's difficult and you've managed to do it, you can go into a green pasture the other side. Okay, and there's definitely a little bit of that. Depression, that's the liver energy going down, because liver wants to go up. That's what it wants, to go like a tree growing to the light, the fulfillment of your soul. That's what the soul rests in the liver, and the soul wants to be expressed. Okay, but when it can't be expressed because you're not fully on your path, and what we have here is a very powerful dynamic chart with a huge potential. Okay, you've got a big liver energy, big potential, big trauma, big possibility. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it was fair. It wasn't. But the potential that's come as a result of all this pain is absolutely massive. And the liver is right there to do it. But if the liver isn't directed up to the light, it sinks down, and you've got enough liver energy for it to go there. Now, when you have a little liver energy, I only have a piddly little liver. Mine's pathetic, right? I can't get depressed because I don't have the energetic reserve for it to go down there. I've got a lot of metal, so I can go to kind of like, and it's a bit pathetic, but that's more the kind of that grief kind of feeling. I get that. But people with strong livers can go down into that dark place, and they can actually weirdly tolerate quite a lot of drug and alcohol. I'm not saying they should, but their bodies can cope with it. They've got strong livers that they can metabolize it, but you can go down. But the good news is that you can, once you're on track with your plan, you will reach for the sky, okay? And it will be a very, very dynamic reach. And the other interesting thing about your liver is that you have the 5 elements, which are the organs, which I talk about. They are like space. They're like galaxies in space. They're the soul, okay? But you're in body at the moment. You're going through a life. Your soul is in a body, gaining experiences in this embodiment, okay? And that is subject to time. And time is divided into 4 rhythms: hours, days, months, and years. And in your case, your chart, your hour, which is like this, because it's like all the time, you can remember what you were doing an hour ago, but like a month ago, right now, I don't know, I'd have to look in my diary, but like an hour is this, and it's a yin-wood energy. And what that means is it's like a vine that will relentlessly creep. If you look at woods, the vine will wrap itself around the tree and it will reach up to the canopy. And once it knows where it's going, it's relentless. So that you have a relentless wood element, that once you know what it is you're doing, you will go for it. You will do it. No one's going to stop you. No one, nothing. No matter what awful things that happen, it's appropriately. Go away, Mr. Brindle. I'm in a flow here. Now he's going to start texting me. So you've got a lot of upside with your liver, but that's why the depression was coming in, okay? The feeling of cold, by the way, that's with the liver. Late period, with the kidneys, sorry, late periods, that was the kidneys getting affected.
What about the no periods? What does that relate to?
The no periods was the kidneys. Again, the kidneys getting basically, they were frozen. So therefore nothing moved, nothing went in. What happened was you were just a girl going on with your la 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 la, going through your puberty, and then it was taken away. Now, by the way, there's a massive feminine agenda going on at this exact moment in time. And what I can see when I'm looking at you is like hundreds of thousands of women like behind you going, yeah, us too. Hello, we were married off when we were 11, like concubines taken from their families. I mean, I can see that behind you. These women outraged by their own, and that they were married. They were married by their fathers into sex slavery. Okay, so when you look at charts, you look at the individual and the micro, but you then have to place you in the history of the world right now, which is there is a revolution going on of women as healers, women as sex objects, you know, women who've basically been abused for centuries of thousands of years, no voice, have to put up with it, arguably having to get pregnant off the back of it, and then dealing with the back end of that, all this crap. Sorry, I'm getting a bit militant, but this crap that we've had to deal with for thousands of years. And I can see them behind you. Sorry, I can see them going like that. Oh my God, they are angry and they are talking to you. And you suffered so that you know the blade of pain that they're feeling, because you've got to change the world. You're one of us, and we're here to change things. Okay, that's why we're all ending up in this amazing feed that we're all on in this community, because we need to change it. Because look at what they've done to us and to the world. I mean, like, thanks a lot, guys. I mean, no, I'm not having a man bash here, but it's not great. And you're part of the solution, and that's why That's okay. Sorry, I'm banging on now, but anyway, so I'm getting a bit militant. But anyway, look, so that's I'm picking up your liver. That's why, that's the anger and the frustration, and that's why it all happened. There's a massive feminist agenda sitting behind your story, that you had to go through your rite of passage in order to go to your path of righteousness.
Yeah.
Painful as it was, and I'm really sorry from my heart that you've had to go through this, but I've been through my version and I know how it feels, and I know you can come out the other side, and I know that coming out the other side is going to open up a world of healing for you, because you've suffered and you know what it feels like. Okay, and I can't emphasize that enough. So let's go to your heart now and the anxiety, because this insomnia, the reason you can't get to sleep is because there's so much anguish going around in your blood, like all day long, of pain and suffering, that the blood at night goes from the outside of the body to the interior, okay, to strengthen the organs. And if the blood has got a communication of pain and suffering and stress response and hormones and fight or flight and going on, the body wants to go to sleep. It's like, oh, I'm tired. Oh, I need the blood now. And then in comes the blood, right? But the body goes, oh my God, not this blood. Oh, this blood's awful. I don't want this blood. I want nice blood. I want healing sounds blood. I want well oxygenated blood. I want calm blood. I want green pastures blood. I want lovely blood. I don't want this drama. Okay. And therefore the body tosses and turns against itself because it can't relax. It can't allow that toxic blood to go into the body. Now, eventually you just pass out because you're so fucking knackered, you just go to sleep anyway, or you take a tablet. And then, of course, what happens is that only lasts so long because the process isn't right. So then you wake up. And then the body's going like that, because the triple burner, which is also in the heart, goes, oh my God, I've let my guard down. Oh my God, something's about to happen. Okay, yeah. It's trauma. And it's okay because it's fixable, but that's why that feeling is going to, because the heart, we're not calm, okay? Why? Because when it was calm, just doing its thing, enjoying its childhood, someone just came along and grabbed you, and then all hell broke loose. So funnily enough, it's not over it yet, and we understand that. So if we then go now back to your day master, which is your earth, so I'm just going around the circuit here, we're now over here, we've got fibromyalgia. That the earth the spleen is responsible for muscles. That's why you get fibromyalgia, means multiple pain in the muscles. That's what that means, okay? That's basically because the chi of the body is so walloped, it's just not going in all the right places. So tapping will really help you. Gua sha will really help you, okay? But never mind all that. Unless we go right into the archery board of you, all this stuff is never really going to nail it. And this is why you're such a brilliant case study, because you have to go deeper. It's not enough for you to tap. And then you'll be a person, I tried that and it didn't work. It's like, yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, hello, like, we've got to go in, okay? So the weight gain, earth, spleen, it takes nourishment through food, but it also takes nourishment through pampering and singing and stamping and giving and loving and caring and nurturing others through your own trauma. Earth people love a bit of that. So you'll find that now we go really under your bonnet and we get under you. It's a bit like, when I describe this, it's a gross expression, but I don't care. It's like squeezing a blackhead, right? Sometimes with them, you've got to go, like, if you just do the top bit, it just fills back up again, right? Sorry, guys. Jules is like, oh my God, seriously? It's a blackhead. You've got to get under it and then get it all out, and then you've got to gua sha over it to close the pore over. Otherwise it just keeps filling itself back up, and I've tried it and it doesn't work. Of course it's not going to work. Look what we've got to deal with. So then the allergies, that's because there's very high histamine in the body because of the trauma. So anything, if you add, all this is going to create a lot of heat in the body. Add in more heat, and then with food, the wrong way. Jules has gone like, it's a blackhead, Jules, make a note on a blackhead. The trauma is basically creating heat in the body. If you then eat foods which add high histamine into the body, like nuts and wheat and dairy and all that stuff, it adds more heat, and then the body goes, and then it all kicks off. So
I eat barely anything, honestly.
No, you won't, because the food isn't the problem. What then happens is many people like you come to me in clinic and go, I've tried to address it with my diet. And I'm like, that is exactly the same as going to your dentist with a cavity in your tooth, with an ulcerated tooth, and going, I've stopped eating sugar. And the dentist has said, well, have you brushed your teeth every day for the last 28 years? 14 years. And you went, no, I just done it with sugar. And that you'd feel like an idiot. And the dentist would, well, have you seen a dentist who knows what they're doing? No, I just went to some random person up the street that someone recommended because I wasn't really sure and I didn't really know what they were doing anyway. That is where we are right now. Healing is so decimated as a profession right now, but that is the equivalent if I parallel you and millions of other people like you into the dentistry world, and you'd be sitting there going, she's right. That's exactly what we're doing. We're not brushing our teeth properly, and we're not seeing dentists that actually, and hygienists that are looking at our teeth on a regular basis and understanding what it is that they're doing. We don't, right. And this is what you're here to fix. I'm going to fix you. You're going to play it forward and fix thousands of other people in turn. So the question is, what do we do? That, because I think that's a round robin thing about what's going on. I mean, I think that's fair. So yeah, so I know I'm rattling it at you in a slightly like, but anyway, so what do we do? So we've got to get right under the bonnet. And the thing with you is that the forgiveness is the beginning of it, because the origin of your story was the pain. And that's an awful thing to have to say to somebody, because normally it's just like, oh, you know, I don't know, I caught a flu and then I was a bit dodgy afterwards. You were assaulted. And it wasn't just the once. So that's, we've got a big thing to go there. Now, what I say to people in these situations is, you don't have to forgive other people for themselves when you start in the process of forgiveness, because it's not easy. Okay, what you do is you forgive for yourself. Start selfishly, because it's the only plausible way to even get started. You know, we're not all the Dalai Lamas wandering around going, oh, it's all right, it's okay, it doesn't matter. It does matter. It does matter. But if we can start with the journey into your healing with forgiveness for yourself, that's the place to start, which is you can forgive yourself for being in that situation in the first place, because there's always going to be a sense of self-culpability, even though you're the victim.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have done this. I didn't do that. I don't know the ins and outs. I don't need to know. You could have been made to feel guilty. You could have been made to feel that you were behaving in a certain way. There's a million one reasons going round and round your head about what happened, but we don't need to go into them because we're healing. What we're going to do is we're going to forgive ourselves, because the forgiveness is the benevolence of the wood. And through the benevolence of the wood, with forgiveness and compassion, we start to heal yourself. Now, the masters and the Christs and the Buddhas and all these people would then forgive the other person as well. I'm not quite there myself. I'm doing my best. It's where we're going to aim to, but we're not ready to do that yet necessarily. But what we can work with is self-forgiveness. So that's self-love and self-forgiveness. We start with that. And then we go to the next level. The first healing modality for the body is breath. Not food, not water, not supplements, not some expensive thing, breath. Okay? And what you do with breath is you calm the stress response. And that's not just the rescue breath that I teach you, it's the deeper breath. So Jules, we need to get Alexandria onto Sandra's breath course, because you need to learn to breathe, because the breath controls everything. Everything. Your whole life is controlled by breath. And the first step is forgiveness of the self. The second step is the breath control of the body, because that's how you're going to purge and nourish. And it's not even just the stuff that I do each morning. It is that stuff, but it's more. It's deeper, it's bigger, there's more to it. Okay, and you are ready to go to that level. Why? Because you're going to be a teacher and you need to know more. Like I need to know more. I can't go out there to the whole wide world telling everyone everything I know straight away, because I totally saturate everyone. I practically saturate everyone anyway. But I give them about a tenth, not even 100th of what I know. And I know about a gazillionth % of what's possible with Chinese medicine. A lifetime won't teach you enough. But you've got to allow people to enter to your world where they're ready to receive the information. And you need to go to the deeper content, because you've got to get that stress response under control, and we've got to work on the spirit. Okay, so the spirit chapter of my book, if you haven't got it, we need to get it to you. Right, right. The spirit chapter, you've got to work at the spiritual level of the body. That's because that's what the calling is. That's what the soul is asking for. And the soul lives in the liver, in the wood. And the minute you're working with your soul and you've just allowing yourself to know that was why, is 50% of the solution. Just that alone. Okay, and then the minute you've got that breath under control, then the anxiety is under control. Then the stress response is under control. Then you've got the body under control. You're in control, not your poor triple burner that is still going like that, okay? Like Fright Night, okay? You're in control. And there's no point doing anything until that's sorted out, because you can tap and gua sha as much as you like. It's just going to keep coming back over and over and over again, because you're not changing. So the root of the problem, that's the leaking bucket. We've got to get that underneath. Okay, that's the first thing. Then we've got to go into the purge and the nourish. Okay, the breath gets the whole thing in like this. You're back to where you were before. You're forgiving yourself. You're going into your breath. You're in that dantian. You're in that lower belly that we talk about, and you're in your power. And then we have to set about allowing the body to get rid of these aches and pains. But we've got to start with the spiritual aspects of the organs, because if you're still in anger and frustration, you're just going to keep creating the problem. And then there's no point me telling you anything else, because it won't work. It just simply won't work. It will only work if you forgive. And the more you forgive, the better. Okay? Because then all the solutions will start to take place. And then what we do is, that's when we do gua sha, the deeper qigong. Have you done the heaven and earth yet?
No, no.
Right. You see, you've got to go through the process. We've got to take you on the journey. It's the deeper. We've got to get the deeper reservoirs of qi moving, and we've got to get the gua sha going at the same time, because it's the same solution as everybody else, just more. It's just more, because you've got more stuff going on. Everything that I've explained on this feed, and it will go, if you're with your permission, up onto the story, so that you can re-see it and it will help other people. But fibromyalgia treated by tapping and gua sha, hypermobility treated by qigong, acne treated by qigong, periods, feeling cold in the afternoon, feeling tired in the afternoon, that's meditation. Okay, anxiety treated by breath. Overstressed system with too many allergies, that's treated by breath and gua sha. So, and tapping. There's nothing in your solution that I don't say every single day. It's the same thing. The difference is that, like me, you never get to be off the hook, because it's not your life plan. You have to walk the walk like I do. You've got to go all the way through, which is why I personally have kept the animals back for me to do with everyone, because I want to show you that I'm all the way through to the absolute end. Why? Because you're a healer. And ultimately, the solution to you lies exactly as I say each morning, which is, you have to understand the problem. You have to get your intention set. You have to amplify your healing process. And then you have to do your journey of 10,000 steps. But your journey is deeper than an average person's journey, because you're going to be you are a healer. And therefore you've got to go all the way to the end. Otherwise, you can't do your job. How can you help people if you've only done the bit at the beginning bit? Then you wouldn't. Then you'll just end up, like, I don't know, doing something a bit lightweight, and your soul won't like it. Because I see your soul in your chart and in your face, and I'm looking at you thinking, your soul wants it all. It really wants to serve. It wants to help. It's looking at the problem of the world and going, I want to help. It's listening to females that have gone for thousands of years before you, and go, do you know what? I want to get that sorted. I want to get that straight. I'm going to fight that. I'll fight. And I'll suffer, because I believe in what I know to be true. And that's what I see when I'm looking at you. I don't know. I'll stop talking now. How does that resonate?
Totally. I feel so grateful. I feel like you've just, like, you're very, you're obviously very, like, intuitive and everything. I feel like you've just totally, like, understood me completely, like, everything that's happened in my life. And that just, it really makes sense, you know, about this whole journey, just to really go through, like, the depths of how I feel like I've really, like, some days it's just been like, wow, like, oh my God, being a human, like, be experiencing this, wow. And it's amazing, because, like you said, it does give motivation to think, I want to get better so I can help other people. That is my motivation, because I feel so good when I help other people. And I think that's why I'm getting to the point of, like, I really want to get better so I can help more people and be stronger, so I can give more to others without depleting myself. Because at the moment I do one thing for someone, and then, like, the whole rest of the next day I'm, like, lying in bed like, oh, I feel crap. So, but I think it totally, like, when you were saying about the breath, and it made complete sense. So I just feel so grateful to you.
Oh, you're lovely. But honestly, we're very grateful to you. So the key thing for you is, when you look at this pyramid of health, you've got it all going on.
Yeah.
Okay. Body, emotions, spirit. Okay. So this is sort of body, mind and soul. I think in the old days, that's how they'd call it. But we label it slightly differently to that. You've got the whole gig. Now, the great thing about you is that you've come through into this via the Qigong, which is our very precious group of amazing people that really embrace this kind of stuff. And the thing is, you're an early adopter. Okay. So you're going to lead the way. You're one of the people that were there at the beginning, that now you've got the hang of this, and you can now apply it, and we'll help you. Jules will help. Jules will help her. So, you know, we will help you, because we know that then when more people come through in the future, going kind of blindfolded, wandering into this space, going, what's this? My friend said this was quite interesting. What is it? What is it? You'll be there going, oh, it's okay. I was really going through the ringer, and you know what? I did it and it totally worked. And because that's going to be your story. And the thing that is so miraculous about stories like this, and this is where we, you know, we'll have to, Jules, we need to reconnect this. We need to do a story on your story. We need to benchmark you. We need to clock in with each other and check in and see how you're getting on. Okay. And it's not going to take 5 seconds to sort out. These sessions that I do like this are very intense, and they're like, oh, you come away going, oh my God, but they're the beginning of this deeper level. Okay. And you often have a healing crisis just from this alone, you know, and that's okay. And the trick to this is, don't then start going off and doing too much when you've only just started. You've got to focus on yourself. You know, physician, heal thyself. Okay. You can't be any use to anyone with half your limbs missing. Okay. But we have really articulated, I mean, the absolute exit from the pain is the utter forgiveness. And I have worked with people on this before, and I am not saying that it's easy. And the recent person I worked on it with, who'd had the most horrendous situation, just as bad as yours, but a different story, but just, oh my God, awful, awful, awful. And we did it. And what has come off the back of that is quite incredible. And a social example is Nelson Mandela. Yeah. The first thing he did when he came out of prison was forgive his jailman after 24 years. And God knows what he must have done to him. But that's what he did. And look what happened as a result. Look what happened. And these are why great spiritual people like that, spiritual leaders, they lead by example. If you look at the scriptures of any religion, you will see how they suffered. And it's an illusion of modern day rubbish that we're led to believe that it's all supposed to be easy. It's not. It is, guys, it's not. The harder it is, the greater the spiritual reward. Okay. And I'm not saying that that's nice. I'm not saying that I'm happy about that either. I'm not saying that I've got off scot-free. I have not. But my goodness me, the upside is incredible once you know how to navigate it. And half the problem is we've lost the rules of the game. I don't quite know why or how, but we just have. You know, when I was in my version of this, I stumbled across this information just like everyone else has. And I was like, this is incredible. What? How does no one know this? Where's this been? Where was this when I was? Where was this when I was at school? Why are they not taught this? Why are we not taught this stuff in RE and in biology? Why? And yet we're not, because we've got to change it. It's our job. So I think really the next steps for you is to say, we start with yourself, compassion. Listen to everything that I say in that live feed. It totally relates to you, but you've got to do it more. Okay. How does that feel? Is there anything else? I think that's probably enough for now. Yeah. I think what we do is we take this offline now. You've got my email address and Jules, and we will now work. Jules, we need to talk tomorrow about your little bit of a next step. So we've just got some benchmarks in place for you, which is what I'd normally do. It's a bit difficult in live to just put some stuff in writing where you go, right, this month we're going to focus on this and do this as your plan, and then do that for a few weeks and then clock in with me and we'll see how you're getting on. Okay. Yeah. But the key for you is to do the breath, to acknowledge the pain, to stay in your compassion, to make a plan, and to give yourself to go into the deeper qigong. That's what's going to make you well. And we need to monitor your progress so that we can turn you into a healer.
Thank you.
You are a patient who becomes a practitioner, my dear. Thank you. Welcome to the gang. We're all barking, we're all nuts, but we love it. We have such a good time.
You're all so amazing. I'm so grateful to all what fabulous community. It's just
well, you are part of that. Okay, you are going to be part of the solution. Okay, and with a chart like this, with all this pain, if you can walk the walk and come out of it, what an example you will be to others. Where you sit there and go, I was this, I was that, and now look at me. And you'll all these awful things that have happened and that you've suffered from. Just think of all the other people out there with fibromyalgia alone.
Yeah.
Heavy periods alone. Drug addiction alone. Anxiety, sleeplessness. You've just knocked on the head, you know, some of the major illnesses that millions of people suffer from, and your story alone will help them. I mean, what a spiritual privilege to have worked with you. So I'm very grateful for your for your trust in what we're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll pick this up on email. I think we need to stop. Thank you everyone for joining. Jules, thank you always for holding the fort behind the scenes. Thank you so much for joining us. We will help you and we will get you well, okay? And we're going to keep in touch and we're going to sort this out. Lots of love, everyone, and we will see you hopefully in the morning for Qigong.
Yeah.
All right, my darling, lots of love. Okay, bye, everyone. Bye.